Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Table Flippers Podcast, Ministry of Greater Works Christian Church, right here in beautiful Lancaster, California. I am your host, Robert Enos. Here I will discuss theology, doctrine, politics, social and cultural issues, pretty much anything I feel like talking about. But basically, I flip tables. Please remember to download each episode. That's very important. Download each episode. Hold on tight. It's going to be a bumpy ride.
This is going to be good.
Yes, my last podcast I dealt with junk food, spirit, soul, body, and junk food. A lot of people don't understand how that is all related, but hopefully you'll listen to my podcast and see. Anyways, I did that because somebody had mentioned something to me, and it just sparked my curiosity. And like I said, these podcasts, I get to talk about what I want to talk about. So I decided I wanted to talk about spirit, soul, body, and junk food. And as I did a little bit of research on junk food and the effects of junk food on the body, a lot of the things that I came up with were just, I shouldn't say shocking, because these are things that we all know. I mean, if you've been alive on this planet more than, if you're 20 years old or older, junk food is horrible for you. And yet we still consume so much of it. Because we eat that bag of chips, we eat that candy bar. Hey, I'm guilty of this as well. I'm not going to lie to you. I still like my potato chips. I still like the occasional candy bar. But for me, the more and more I learn, and actually the more and more these things make me feel bad. I feel terrible when I eat too much junk food. So I'm cutting it out of my diet more and more and more and more. I don't know why I still call them treats, because they're treats that are killing me. But these are more about treats than a lifestyle. I do my best to eat healthy food. Like at home, the meats that I cook are grass-fed meats, organic chicken, things of that nature. Every now and then I'll have grass-fed lamb, wild-caught fish, organic vegetables, and I don't eat a ton of fruits. Even though I love fruit, I don't eat a ton of fruits because fruit has so much concentrated sugar in it. But nonetheless, I mean, it's a natural sugar, but nonetheless, it's still sugar. And so I just choose to stay away from that much sugar in one serving. But again, the things that I eat I try to be healthy. If I drink milk, which is not a lot, but if I drink milk or have milk, it's organic. And I try to have organic raw, but at least organic. And again, even down to like the peanut butters and things like that, it has to be organic, all natural, organic. And I eat more than peanut butter. I eat a lot of almond butter now, because almonds are very good for you and much better for you than peanuts. But again, organic. And I don't know if you realize this, just as a little side note, but a lot of the peanut butter, you say, how could they mess up peanut butter? It's just ground up peanuts. And some add a little bit of salt for flavor, but it's ground up peanuts. That's what real peanut butter is, ladies and gentlemen. It's just ground up peanuts. It's ground very, very fine to where it's a paste, right? Well, you guys know what peanut butter is. But what they do is, if you go buy the organic or the natural peanut butter, just ground peanuts, the peanut oil separates itself from the pasty part, and then the pasty part becomes more chalky. So you have to actually stir it, and sometimes it makes a mess. I'm not going to lie, it's a pain sometimes, because you have to stir it up, and peanut oil's flying everywhere and everything. But if you go then buy other peanut butters where the oil isn't floating at the top, and a lot of people do that just because it's easy, it's just easy. You don't have to stir it and all that stuff. And what happens is, what they've done, and read the label, just read the label, they've pulled out all the peanut oil, and then they stirred in another oil that's not going to separate from the actual peanut paste. But a lot of people say, well, big deal, it's just replacing one oil for another oil. Yeah, but the oil that they replace it with is not a healthy, natural oil. They might put in canola oil or sunflower seed oil or corn oil or something of that nature, which is, those are all carcinogens. They're unhealthy because they've been so processed to become an oil. You take something that doesn't have a lot of fat in it or oil in it, such as corn, you have to manipulate it to turn it into oil. And then they put it into our peanut butter, mix it with peanuts, and call it peanut butter. And we eat it, we consume it, and it gives us all kinds of problems, where if we just ate the straight, natural, whole peanut butter, we wouldn't have those problems, or at least at the level that we're having them. Anyways, that was just a little side note. But, ladies and gentlemen, please start reading your labels. Please. It's like I told you on the last podcast, I bought those chips. They were sweet potato and beet chips, cooked up like potato chips. And I thought, well, that'll be a healthier alternative. And I realized that once you fry something, you deep fry something, it doesn't matter the oil. You'll lose a lot of the nutrients and the nutritional content. But I just figured it would still be a lot better than just eating a bunch of fried potatoes that are just straight carbs and grease. So I bought them, and then I'm eating them. And I'm not going to say they made me feel really, really, really bad, but I just didn't feel, they made me feel strange. And then I stopped at one point, and I looked at the label, and it's like, canola oil? So they took these healthy vegetables, or tubers, I think they're considered, but nonetheless, healthy plant vegetables, sweet potato and beet, which both of those are very good for you if you eat them correctly, cook them correctly and such. And then they cook them in canola oil, which is, again, as my nutritionist / chiropractor says, it's just cancer waiting to happen. So they take something that's really healthy and cook it in something that's extremely unhealthy, destroying that whole concept of I'm buying this to eat something healthier. Well, not really. I bought something that was just as bad as eating a bag of potato chips. So anyways, you got to really read labels. I should have read the label. That's my fault. And I ate about half of that bag, and I literally just threw it out this morning in the trash. I saw it there in the trash because I put it in the trash as soon as I got home. And I took it out this morning. Anyways, I want to talk to you. I want to follow up on some junk food issues, because some of this, I'm going to be honest, it's almost comical, but like Saturday Night Live kind of skit comical. Yeah, and yet when you're dealing with it in a real life scenario, it's not funny. I could turn this into a good comedy skit, but it's still not funny when you're living this. But anyways, junk food. And again, we all know this, so I'm not telling you anything that you don't know, but I don't know, maybe you don't know this. So maybe you're hearing this for the first time. Oh, and by the way, again, another little side note. On my podcast, my last few podcasts, there's been like this chipmunk or squirrel that's been sneaking in there and saying a few things. I don't know, so maybe you guys can, hear him in those podcasts, and hopefully I can catch him and keep him out of my podcast. But so I apologize about the little chipmunk or squirrel that's sneaking in on my podcast to try to be a part of my podcast. I can't even keep a straight face. Anyways, back to junk food. So we all know that junk food leads to heart disease, cancer, stroke, diabetes, pretty much any disease that's harmful, extremely harmful. When I say disease, I'm not talking about like the common cold or getting a flu, but even that, junk food plays a big part in that. But most all diseases can be are really because of poor diet, or because of the junk that we put in our bodies, junk food. But as we learned in the last podcast, and ladies and gentlemen, this was something that it didn't surprise me on one hand, and yet it did surprise me. It surprised me only because it's not being talked about, but it didn't surprise me because I know how horrible junk food is for the body. It actually makes your brain shrink. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it right here. It makes your brain shrink. Eating too much junk food makes your brain, your physical brain, the muscle in between your ears, it makes it shrink. And junk food has been directly linked to mental and emotional problems such as anxieties, fears, depression. So, I don't understand why so many people, because these are things that we know, it's out there. People know this, it's being taught. And yet still people will spend so much money and so much time waiting in that drive-through line, getting their, fast food junk that literally is killing them. And if it doesn't kill them outright, it certainly doesn't give them a quality life. Junk, I don't understand this, and why we eat so much. And what gets me is then when I see people, like I go to the gym and I work out, and most of the people, not all, but most of the people there are pretty, they're in shape. They don't necessarily come into the gym for the first time in shape, but that's why they're there. And they start getting really serious about their health, not just how much weight they could lift or how far they can run, but what they eat, what they put in their body, because they begin to realize that the overall quality of their life demands not only do they move more, not only do they move more, run more, walk more, lift more weights, whatever it might be, but they start eating correctly. Early on, and this goes back years ago, I tried to just go to the gym and work out and still eat all the junk food. Hey, we need protein. Okay, I'll go get me a burger at the local fast food joint. And it just didn't work. I didn't feel any better. I wasn't getting any stronger. I wasn't getting caught up. Now, I'm not saying everybody faces that exactly like that, but that was me. But I do realize, and this is something that was funny, before I started going to this particular gym that I'm going to now, I went on a keto diet plan, and I was pretty strict for a while, and I lost 12 pounds without even trying. What I love about keto, if you do it right, is you don't have to go hungry. It's not a diet plan like you're cutting out, overall food. You're just cutting out foods that are not going to help you or affect you in a healthy manner. And you replace it with more fats and more healthy fats, I should say, healthy fats, and more protein and far less carbs. And at least for me, I don't worry about the calorie count when I do this, at least not initially. And I lost 12 pounds doing that, and I never went hungry. I was satisfied because I like to eat a lot of meat. I like to eat, fatty foods in that sense. I love my avocados, and I actually like salads. So I eat a lot of salads, a lot of greens, and such like that. And it really helped me. It wasn't just about the weight loss. I didn't do it to lose weight. I did it to get in shape because I started realizing that I'm having aches and pains in my body and things are going on. So let's just cut out all the carbs because I know my body doesn't like carbs. My body likes fat and cheese and meat and avocados and things like that. So I lost the weight, started getting in shape, and what started happening is I started going to the gym, and I was only there for, 2-3 months doing this keto plan. At the same time, I lost the weight, I lost the fat, I should say, the water weight, the fat, and in just 2 or 3 months, I started getting ripped. People started noticing, man, you're getting ripped. I couldn't see it because I don't really, stare in front of the mirror like that. Oh, am I getting ripped? I've been at the gym one time. Am I getting ripped? But people started commenting on it. And I started realizing, wow, wait, they're right. And it wasn't the workout because I'd barely been going to the gym. But it was the fact that I was putting healthy things into my body that my body liked. Started cutting the fat, burning the fat, getting rid of the fat, and exposing the muscle that was underneath. And then going to the gym was another perk, but only 3 months. You don't usually start showing any results from the gym in just 3 short months, unless you're doing something extremely unhealthy, like taking steroids or something. So I started seeing this just by cutting out the junk, eating healthy. That was the biggest, probably 90% of it was just my diet. And the other 10 was just going to the gym and getting, running a little bit more and lifting a little bit more weight and such. And I'm not going to be honest with you, it was tough for the first 6-7 months of going to the gym because I was forcing my body and pushing my body beyond what I've done before. And it took me a long time for everything to start catching up. But now, I feel great. Anyways, let me get back to this. So, smaller brains, mental and emotional problems. And here's the thing about a lot of these things. When a person starts experiencing a smaller brain, I am sorry, like I said, I shouldn't laugh because some people really deal with this stuff. But when a person starts experiencing the effects of having a smaller brain because they've eaten too much junk food, or they start experiencing and having the effects of mental, emotional problems because of all the junk food, they can't see it right away. The person who's depressed can't always see that they are depressed. Person that's anxious can't always see that they're anxious because it's not something that just it's like a switch that's flipped overnight. These are things that build up over time. The persons whose brain is shrinking over time, so they're losing their memory, they're losing their cognitive abilities and such. They don't really, it's not shown overnight, so they can't really always see it. But the people around them can't. Why are you always so touchy? I'm not touchy. Let's go out today. I don't want to go out today. I just want to sit at home and play video games. Why do you think it's strange to me, but how people that play hours and hours and hours of video games and then eat really horrible diets, junk food, it goes hand in hand. Because listen, When your brain starts to shrink and you start facing these mental emotional problems, it makes it more difficult for that person to have a real life in the outside world where they actually can meet real human beings, come in contact with real human beings. And so, and I'm not going to lie, there's problems and there's issues out in the real world, but we are designed and created to face those problems and issues. So the person that's eating all the junk food, the brain starts shrinking, they start having mental emotional problems, they just want to hide away. It's safe to play video games. Why? Because that person is in control of their world. Going outside into, say, the mall or a restaurant or places like that, they're not fully in control of everything and everyone. But in their own living room, or unfortunately sometimes their basement, they are in control of that world. They are fully in control of that world. If they want to jump, they can hit the little jump button. If they want to shoot something, they hit the little shoot button. If they, whatever they want to do. If they want to turn it off, they want to change the game, they want to make it faster, harder, whatever. They can do that. They're in full control. And well, why is that important? Because the people that have mental, emotional problems don't know how to deal with the issues of real life and real life people. So they get lost in this fantasy world of video games, or sometimes it could be movies, sometimes it could be videos on Facebook. That's why, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, so many people also in that place get hooked on pornography, because they can be in control of that world. But take that same, usually it's men, but take that same guy out into the real world to meet real women, and he can't do it. He folds under the pressure. He doesn't know how to engage real people in a real world because he's no longer in control. And I know it's not, eat a donut, become a porn addict. It's not like that. But they do, in a very strange way, go hand in hand. And I'm not talking with the guy that watches the porn. I mean, it's all bad. Should never do that. But here and there, I'm talking about that guy that's locked in his basement or locked in a house. Maybe he has a job. He goes to his job and he runs straight home to either get on the internet to watch more porn or play games with. That's why play games with his friends, the few friends that he has that he doesn't see face to face in video games. And that's where the junk food comes in, because it started their brain shrink. They no longer have the ability to face the outside world, real people, real scenarios, real situations. So they get caught up in this nonsense, of these fantasy worlds that either they create or are created for them. And it can be traced in a very big way, maybe not 100%, but in a very real way, a big way, to the foods that they put into their body. And why is junk food, because it's easier. Listen, you got the guy who doesn't really know how to deal with real life in a real world with real people. And he just wants to get home to his fantasy world. He gets off his job, usually where he's kind of a loner. He's by himself in his own cubicle, something of that nature. And he just can't wait to get home to his fantasy world, the world that he can control. Well, he doesn't have time to go home and cook a 3 or 4 or 5, course meal. So what does he do? He swings through the local drive-thru. He doesn't really have to deal with anybody. He shouts his order into a little box. I would like 14 cheeseburgers, 2 hot dogs, a taco, French fries, onion rings, and I want to wash it all down with a small Diet Coke. Anyways, so it's, and then they just pull up to the next window. The person comes to the window with a bag. That'll be $14.95, sir. He hands them his card or, a $20 bill or whatever. Very minimal. He has his interaction to a very, very minimum. So minimal interaction with actual human beings. Races home, carries the bag inside, turns on the TV or the computer or whatever it is, starts munching on his fast food, greasy fingers everywhere as he's watching the pornography or watching his movies or playing video games. He hooks on his set hey, Deke the Daring, are you out there? Deke the Daring, are you out there? He's never met Deke the Daring, doesn't know this person, but they can connect on the internet through these headphones and such. And why? Why is that acceptable? Because he can still control it. If Deke the Daring ever says anything that he doesn't like, he can just turn it off or go to another game or whatever, block the dude. Or he could create a whole another fantasy world. Hey, man, what do you do for a living? Yeah, man, I work for the Secret Service. I'm a Secret Service. There's things that I can't even tell you because I'd have to hunt you down and kill you. He can create anything, any world that he wants. And it's just unfortunate this loner that's never really learned how to deal with people out in the real world and eating all this junk food. His brain is shrinking day by day by day, and he's got mental and emotional problems now. And it might even get to the point to where he has to go to the doctor and they prescribe him drugs, all because of the garbage that he's putting in his body. Ladies and gentlemen, there's got to be a better way. We've got to do this. And as Christians, come on, God really does care about what we put into our body. He really does. He wants us to take care of ourselves. He wants us to take care of the things that he entrusted us with, hence our body. So another aspect of this that I want to touch upon, and this is the part that when I was thinking about it earlier, I was almost laughing. Like I said, this is a Saturday Night Live skit. I was just watching a video by a doctor, and he's I believe a chiropractor and a health nutritionist. But nonetheless, this doctor, I was just watching a little video, a little clip about the health problems with soy. Now, we tend to think of soy as being a healthy food. They make soy-based proteins out of it that are in a lot of our protein drinks. Soy is in absolutely everything. They make tofu out of it and things of that. And what he was pointing out, that unless soy is actually fermented, like when they make miso soup, which I actually really like miso soup, it's fermented soy. So unless it's actually fermented, it's actually very harmful for you. And so the reason I bring this up is because soy is in many, almost all, but many of our processed foods. You can look through start reading the labels, and you'll find soy isolate, soy this, soy that, and it's all soy-based. Now, why is this so important? Because what soy has in it is a chemical that's an estrogen. It's a plant-based estrogen, and estrogen is the female hormone. Okay, men have testosterone, females have estrogen. Now, I know there's a little crossover with both men and women. Women have some estrogen, some testosterone, men have some estrogen. But they're supposed to be in a healthy balance. Testosterone is what makes men masculine, and estrogen is what makes women feminine. And I like that balance, okay? But when they put all this soy in so many of our foods, and especially men are eating all of this soy, it starts creating problems. In this little video, the doctor was saying how he had a couple of men coming into his practice, and they had shifted from drinking animal milk, like cow milk, to soy milk because they thought it was going to be healthier. People sold them that and told them it would be healthier. It wasn't fermented. It was just this soy milk. So they started drinking it, and they came to his practice and started complaining that their chest is leaking. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, these men were drinking so much of this soy milk and getting so much of this plant-based estrogen that they literally started lactating the way a pregnant woman would be lactating, or a woman that just gave birth would be lactating. Yes, you heard it right here, ladies and gentlemen. And I do know this. My own personal chiropractor nutritionist has hammered this with me for years, that many of the men that suffer, it's like they start eating all this so-called healthy food. It's a lot of soy-based foods because they want to lose weight, they want to get in shape, they want to get away from the animal products because they're sold that that's so bad for you. And so they start eating all this soy-based stuff, and they get softer, their muscles get softer, they get this nice little layer of fat on their body. And they start, and please forgive me for this, but they start growing man boobs. Yeah, man boobs. So they almost need a brazier to hold up their man boobs, and they can't figure out why. They can't figure out. Some guys, well, I go to the gym, I work out, I do my cardio, and I still got these man boobs. I don't understand what's going on. Well, tell me about your diet. Well, I eat very healthy. I drink soy milk. There's your problem right there. I take protein powder, soy protein. There's your problem. You see, men were not supposed to ingest and have that much estrogen in their body because it will start making the male body more feminine. And that's a big problem in our world today. What do you think is going on with the transgender? You know, think about this. I really want you to think about this. So you have these young men, you know, they could be even pre-pubescent children that are eating all of this junk food with all this soy in it. And even at a very young age, they start growing in areas they shouldn't growing and in a manner they shouldn't be growing. But nobody makes that connection, so they keep doing it. They get up into the teen years, and now they're getting bullied and hassled by people. Look at that girl. Look at that girl. They're calling them a girl. They're calling them a sissy boy. They're calling them this. And it makes an impact. Their brain is already shrinking because of all the junk food. They're already experiencing, on some level, some mental and emotional issue. And now their body is starting to take on the form and a shape of a woman. These young men are starting to really freak out and have these problems. And is it any wonder that we have this issue with the transgender movement with all of these men who think they're women? Now, do you see, can you make the connection? I mean, make it just a line. There's a dot there, there's a dot there, there's a dot there. Now just connect the dots. That's all you have to do. And for many, many, many years, what have we been hearing from the FDA and people such as that? Soy is healthy. Eat soy. Eat more plant-based stuff. Eat this. Stay away from the animal products. Stay away from those things. Why? Do you know what animal products do for a man? It boosts testosterone, the thing that makes men masculine. And what are they telling us to eat? Eat more plant-based diets with a lot of soy in it. If you want your protein, eat your tofu. Eat your soy isolate protein powder. And then what happens? Men are becoming more feminine. This is the problem. So I want to get back to this because I look at it down on my time, and I need to wrap this up. But I want you to think about it. I shouldn't laugh, but again, this is like a Saturday Night Live skit. I mean, it really is. This is like Saturday Night Live. You're going to watch. You turn on Saturday Night Live, and you're going to see what I'm talking about in a skit form, in a comedy form. So what is my, and what's the end result in all this? Eat junk food. For men, I'm talking to you now, men. Eat junk food, become a woman. You may as well, if you're going to stuff your food hole with all that junk food, hey, men, put on the makeup, put on the lipstick, put on a dress, because that's what you're doing to yourself. That's what you are becoming. Not to mention, but I will mention it, your brain is actually getting smaller as well. You are, whether you realize it or not, if you've been eating junk food for a long time in high quantity, you are already experiencing and having mental and emotional problems. You may not be able to see it because it's come on slow with you, and it might just feel normal to you. But the people around you are getting bugged by your mental problems and your emotional problems, and probably by your man boob. So just go the whole way. Come on, guys. Just go the whole way. If you're going to stuff that your face full of all that junk food, and you don't care about yourself, you don't care about your health, you don't care about the body that God gave you, the brain that God gave you, you don't care about the people around you, why not just throw on a dress and high heels, some lipstick, some rouge? Do they still call it that? I don't even know. But you may as well just go the whole way. I mean, you're already halfway there. Come on. Eat junk food, become a woman. And ladies, I'm just going to be honest with you. There's not too many men out there. They may say it, but there's not too many men out there that are really attracted to a woman that has the junk food body, the junk food mentality, the junk food brain. The only men that are really attracted to that are the junk food men. So the junk food woman is starting to take on the attributes of a man, and the junk food man are starting to take on the attributes of a woman, and somewhere they're just going to meet in the middle, and you won't be able to tell them apart. They'll dress alike, they'll act alike, they'll think alike, and people will look at them and go, oh, they were made for each other. No, they weren't really made for each other. That's just what they junk food themselves into. Now they look more like two brothers or two sisters, or they don't look like husband and wife or boyfriend and girlfriend. They just, I see this all the time, and it's the strangest thing. Again, you watch, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be on Saturday Night Live. So if any of you writers or anybody, you producers of Saturday Night Live, if you happen to tune in, just let me know. I can write this up for you. I can write the skit for you. I can write it. I'll submit it. I can help you. And you can help me get the message out. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, please stay away from the junk food. Eat healthy. When you go into the supermarket, as my doctor says, just stay away from the middle. where all the boxes and the cans are, and stay on the outside where you see things that are not in boxes and cans. The fruit is out on display. The vegetables are out on display. The meat is not in a can, not in a box. It's under a little cellophane so you can actually see it, but you can tell it's just meat and only meat. Chicken is chicken and only chicken. And do your best to get, natural, all natural, organic. Organic is real huge. Non-GMO, as my chiropractor says, GMO just stands for God move over. We're taking over because, apparently a lot of people don't like the way God created the food, so they're trying to recreate it in their image instead of, the way God wanted it. So God move over food. Stay away from that garbage. Do your best to stay away from it. And if you don't know, don't buy it. If you can't pronounce it, don't buy it. If there's ingredients in there, don't buy it. So just shop on the outside and you'll be a lot healthier. And men, you'll actually start being men again. And women, you'll actually start being women again. I'm only speaking to those that are, high junk food addicts. I'm not speaking to you other people that are eating somewhat healthy, and men are clearly men there and women are clearly women there. I'm talking about the person who, buys goes through the drive-thru on the way home from work and rushes home so they can wolf down their cheeseburgers and tacos and French fries while they play video games or watch porn or whatever they do. I mean, it's just nonsense. So that's who I'm speaking to. So anyways, God bless you all. If you're not a junk food addict, please stay away from it. Don't even start. Don't even get going. Eat healthy. Keep your brain size big, large. Fill that skull with brain matter. And, stay healthy. Just stay healthy. Take care of what God has given you. I'm just sitting here. I'm sorry. I'm laughing because of all the images running through my mind. But have a fantastic day. Thank you again for joining us at Table Flippers. Please check out our merchandise. We have hats, hoodies, water bottles, all kinds of cool things. You can find all of our merchandise at tableflippers.com. That's tableflippers.com. And please write me. Please let me know how I'm doing. Write me at gwccrobert, that's one word, gwccrobert@gmail.com. Give me the good letters, give me the bad letters, tell me the great things I'm doing, tell me the bad things I'm doing. I want to hear it all. Have a great day.